Good afternoon everybody, and welcome back to our thought for the day. I hope you enjoyed these little thoughts that we put out every weekday. It's really good to be able to connect with you. Of course, don't forget that we have our live stream service every Sunday at 10:30, and you're more than welcome to join us from that. No matter what church you attend, or if you don't attend church any at all, you're welcome to come along and listen and take part in that service as well. And don't forget, if you're a member of our church, SECC, and you would like to take part in our service virtually, please email our church secretary just saying yes, and then let us know what bit of technology you've got so we can know whether in fact we can use you from that aspect as well. Life is of course very different as it was to a few weeks ago, and we're beginning to find joy in the small things. And one of the things that's become a much bigger part of my week than it used to be was our almost daily trip to Tesco's over in Harlow. And Tesco's has become for me a grand day out. I tend to pop along to Tesco's for the family because only one of us can go, and I'm probably more keen to get out of the house than anybody else. And it's quite an unusual, unique experience. I remember the first time I went just a couple of weeks ago, and I hadn't seen the almost theme park queue that you have to join going like this to get your trolley and join in with everybody else, eerily quiet as we go in one after the other, one at a time. And now Tesco's is a completely different experience. I've never been more excited to see toilet roll and pasta in my entire life. But the social distancing measures, the lines on the floor saying stand here, the fact that you've got to go in a certain direction up and down the aisles, the simmering anger when someone comes the wrong way down an aisle. And the most unique part of the Tesco experience is when you stand to browse just for a moment or two, and then you suddenly become aware that you've got 3 or 4 very angry, tutting people with their trolleys who would like to browse in the same area of the shop because of social distancing and not able to get as close as you. And the other day I was looking for something for a member of my family, and I wasn't quite sure what it was, so I stood there looking for what felt like an eternity, but I think it was just a second or two, and I was aware that there were about 4 people with their trolleys, all rolling their eyes, waiting for me to move on. But this is the new shopping experience. I was in Tesco's just yesterday, and as I went round the various things I've just said, I heard a familiar voice, a familiar robotic voice. As I was near the self-checkout, I heard the robotic voice call out to a person standing there, "Help is on its way." The person, of course, patiently waited, knowing and trusting that robotic voice that help would come in the form of a Tesco employee. And amongst all of this COVID-19 situation we find ourselves in, we know that help is on its way. We know that scientists across the globe are working as hard as they can to find a vaccination and maybe one day a cure to try and slow and eventually, hopefully, limit and stop this altogether. Help is on its way. But what do we do between now and then? How do we keep ourselves going between where we are today and what may come in the future that's good? I was reminded by a member of my family, I believe God put Psalm 16 in their heart. They told me that in the middle of the night they were laying in bed and they just felt Psalm 16 drop into their head in a really sort of an unusual, unique way, and they felt like God was saying to them that Psalm 16 was an important psalm for them to read. And I'm going to read it to you now this afternoon, because the words of this psalm are all about a trust of God for a particular situation. So let me read these verses to you now. It says, "Keep me safe, my God, for in you I take refuge. I say to the Lord, you are my Lord. Apart from you I have no good thing. I say of the holy people who are in the land, they are the noble ones in whom is all my delight. Those who run after other gods will suffer more and more. I will not pour out libations of blood to such gods, or take up their names on my lips. Lord, you alone are my portion and my cup. You make my lot secure. The boundary lines have fallen for me in pleasant places. Surely I have a delightful inheritance. I will praise the Lord, who consoles me. Even at night, my heart instructs me. I keep my eyes always on the Lord. With him at my right hand, I shall not be shaken. Therefore my heart is glad and my tongue rejoices. My body also will rest secure, because you will not abandon me to the realm of the dead, nor will you let your faithful one see decay. You will make known to me the path of life. You will fill me with joy in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand. Psalm 16 is a psalm, it would seem, written from the perspective of a Jewish man in the promised land. The promised land being what God called the Israelites out of Egypt to go towards, to find a place where they would have prosperity and grow and become a nation of priests to shed God's light across the world to the Jew and the non-Jew, the Gentile. And here in the land, the psalmist, Psalm 16, the writer, is overcome with a sense of awe and joy and confidence of God. Here they are in this one place, in this situation. And as they ponder all that God has done, they erupt with that confidence of God. Not just about what's gone before, but what's now and what's going to come one day. That even in the realm of the dead, they know they will be in the faithful hands of the King of Kings. He makes that promise that he's not going to turn and worship anything else. Only Yahweh, only the God of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob. And I really like this psalm. I think it's a really significant psalm because it reminds us that no matter what situation we find ourselves in, wherever we are, as long as God is with us, the boundary lines fall in pleasant places. As long as God is with us, we can have a confidence in every single scenario and situation. And actually, did you notice that there's one of the prophetic messianic prophecies there as well, talking about your faithful one not seeing decay, a messianic promise about the Messiah that he would die and that he would not decay in the grave. Of course, Jesus, when he was buried, did not see decay physically, but rose glorified and glorious and lives forevermore. And so as we wait for that vaccination, as we wait for that, hopefully that cure one day, help is coming. But Easter Sunday was not that long ago. Jesus is still risen. God is still with us. Help is already here. And that's what we must focus on every single day that we wait for a vaccination. God bless you, and I hope this brings you some comfort and joy today.